today's session is all about the millennials, and we are so excited to provide a forum for the voices of these young people to be heard. Because there's no sense for us to say that we are the great National Congress Trade Union of the Bahamas, we are the official voice of labor, and then the ones that are coming on, who will one day be called Madam President, ladies, will have to take my position. But they can't take that position unless we train them, unless we sow into them. And so that's what we're doing this morning. Is that okay? Is that okay? Yes. Yesterday, we had a little touch of the millennial man, and they blew us away. Didn't they? Show a clap. Did they? Yes. Awesome stuff. So this morning, we're doing the millennial women, and then we're going to do some conch salad, mix it up, and then do both in quad stalls. And so, Sister Sherry Benjamin, our third vice president, second, third, am I correct? Third vice, second, you're third vice president, and the woman on the presidential team who keeps the Boys Club grounded, I must say that, kudos to her. She will join that group in cross-talk. So we will get a little bit of conch salad going on in there. So without further ado, let me turn this stage over to Miss Anastasia Palacios Eiler. Y'all know her, star. Please come on down.
They're going to give us all the life that they think we don't have. But we know that life don't start until over 30, right? Amen? Amen. So I need y'all to be excited. If you are excited that we get to celebrate today the strides that women have made in our nation over these past years, mostly and largely in part due to hard-working union people like you, I need y'all to make some noise today. My grandmother, Teresa Hyla, was a leader in the union many years ago, and she worked so diligently to ensure that women had a seat at the table, not just in the union, but in politics, and I believe that I am standing in the shadow of her legacy because she built it to remind me that there is nothing that a girl can't do. So if you believe that, I need you to make some noise. As we know, when we look back on our suffrage movement, that in order for women to be able to do anything, in order for women to get to the level that they need to get to, in order for us to have the access that we want to have, in order for us to have the laws that we want to have, we know that women and men need to work together. So let's give a round of applause to all our young men that we have in the room today, ladies, because they are the ones that are going to ensure that our future looks bright. So if you're ready to get started, on the count of 3, I need to hear you say go, go, go. 1, 2, 3. Go, go, go. Sound ready? This side of the room still sleeping, so we got to wake them up, all right? If you are ready for us to get started, on the count of 3, I need you to say go, go, go. 1, 2, 3. Go, go, go. Sounds like it's time for us to get ready and excited. As I call these young ladies up, I want you to give them a big round of applause. It takes a lot of courage to come up on stage, a lot of confidence to talk with you, and of course they are here in a safe space. So give them a round of applause as they come up. I want to start with Keontae Stewart. Now Keontae is a 17-year-old, beautiful and brilliant young lady. She goes to the C.R. Walker High School, and she's hoping to be a doctor. And in particular, she wants to direct a research institute. Keontae, you can have a seat for me right there. And she is Miss Grand Bahama Junior Team, coming all the way from the Northern Island. Give her a round of applause for me. And we've got Miss Sky. Sky, come on up for us. Sky is 15. She goes to Aquinas College, and she was hoping, see, Sky is so talented, y'all. Sky said she's going to figure it out as she goes along. But Sky is so good at math and yet so enamored with our environment that she's trying to figure out whether or not she's going to be an accountant or a marine biologist. Now, I this guy girl too, right? She can be wrong. She can be wrong. And that's the sky. So let's give them a round of applause one more time. I'm going to pass you this mic. It should be on. So you can hold that for me. And we're going to get this conversation started. Now, what I also want to do is I want this to be an interactive process with you. So if at any point you have a question that you would like to be asked, and I can just raise your hand for me, and there's a lovely lady right here, her name is Sean. Sean, just wave your hand for them, please. Sean is going to get the question from you, and when I ask for audience questions, she'll give the question to me. Sounds good? Now we are ready to get started. Ladies, good morning. No. They tell me y'all have all type of fire and y'all the future. You don't need y'all the future information, so I need that to be a little more energetic. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. So it's International Women's Day tomorrow. We celebrate our marching, and it's actually been going on for over 100 years now in different forms. Not really official until 1975. It started way back then. And a part of this has been to get women to be at a certain level. At the time it started, it was to encourage women to get the right to vote. And now there's so many other issues that women deal with. When you consider some of the major issues happening for women in your schools, what are some of the challenges that women at your age face?
Personally, I feel as though women face an issue with their something as small as their color,
Okay.
the texture of their hair,
Okay.
their height, even me.
Okay.
I experienced some of that in my lifetime.
Okay.
And so I feel like when you can have that level of self-respect and self-esteem to realize that, hey, I'm me and I can be the best me I can be, there's nothing else I can be.
Okay. And how many of you, I know, for example, how many of you have ever dealt with feelings of issues of colorism or hair not being nice as somebody else's or being a little chubbier than someone else, being a little taller than someone else? Has anybody else ever dealt with those issues? Oh, yeah. And I was talking to my sister the other day, and I was telling her that I remember the first time I realized that my body was different from anybody else's body, and it was in the 4th grade, and this boy, I was going to call his name, but let's make it different. Let's call him James. So James told Peyton, star thighs are really big, right? And so we were sitting in quiet practices, it never even occurred to me to look at myself in comparison to someone else. But all of a sudden, I now have an insecurity about my body because somebody pointed it out. And so as young people, parents dealing with their own stress, their own issues, they may not even realize that these are the challenges that we're dealing with, right? And just trying to make ourselves feel as good or as pretty as the next person. But we can't do that, right? Because all of us are built differently, we look differently, and we're designed that way for a reason. Can I get an amen? Amen. All right, so that's one major issue, Sky. How do we deal with confidence? How do we let ourselves know that we're still pretty, even if our color is different or our hair is different? What about you? What are some of the major issues, Keontae, that you think women face in high school?
The major issue that I think some women face in high school is inclusion or the need for inclusion. I feel that they would judge themselves based on how others feel, and when they're not included, it tends to break them down. It tends to cause their self-esteem to be damaged, and I feel as though inclusion is a big thing in the lives of young girls with me. And then another thing, bullying. I mean, it's so cliche to hear bullying, but it's actually real. It's happening on social media. We see it every day. It's happening in school, and I witness it, and I mean...
In church
Yeah.
too? What a time, what a time.
Yeah.
So, but let's talk about what that looks like then, right? Because I think sometimes people hear bullying, and because they've heard the word so much, it doesn't mean anything to them.
Yes.
So what do we see that look like? When you talk about being online, is it that someone would say, take a photo and turn it into a meme, or does someone look at someone and say something like, oh, you so fat? Like, what does that actually look like when you see it?
Well, the meme part, I feel all of us get our fair share of jokes with the meme thing. But the bullying on social media, I don't know if you guys saw this or see it, but I would notice a girl will post a picture and she's wearing her outfit. She may have worn it twice, and then the minute someone sees it, the picture would go viral with negative comments, judging her, saying that she's wearing this over and over again. Is she poor? Is she, like, they're judging people based on what they look like and not what's going on within them, if it makes sense.
Wow. People all over the world, mostly millennials, who've become what they call social media influencers. And so you can actually make a career or a living off of the numbers of likes that you get online, the number of content that's engaged with you online. And it's actually become a $2 billion industry across the world as people pay people with online profiles to advertise for them in a variety of ways. And so a lot of young people, I find, like you said, are getting their justification and their validation and their affirmation from what they post online and how many people comment and like it. And I see Sky and Keontae nodding, so I'm sure I'm on the right track. But I just really want to say that y'all, I think it's poor stewardship if we don't wear the same clothes over and over again. What y'all saying, right? I had these shoes since 2014, and I could wear these till they fall off. And they've fallen off before, and I had to go to the shoemaker and get them fixed because I could wear these till the soles burst. Y'all see what I'm saying? Can I get an amen? Right? And so what do you think then that we can do to help to let people know that, of course, you have to wear the same thing over and over again? That only makes sense. Like, it's the reason that you buy it. How can we help people to be confident? How can we affirm our young ladies so that they don't feel pressure based on how many likes they get on social media?
Okay, I feel like the first thing you need to do is realize that other people's opinions or other people's likes don't make you you. And if you spent your hard-earned money for that outfit, you wear that outfit because you feel comfortable. And if you make everybody else feel uncomfortable, that's too bad because I look good.
Okay. And what about you?
I agree wholeheartedly with Sky. I mean, I bought that. I told one of my friends the other day, I have 3 pair of shoes and I wear those shoes and I will continue to wear those shoes. So I mean, once you're comfortable in your skin, you have nothing to worry about.
All right, so we got to call everybody on this side, say comfortable, everybody side, say skin. 1, 2, 3. Comfortable skin. Comfortable skin. You got to be comfortable in your own skin. And you know what? I think it's important that we're having this conversation because even though you guys are in high school, I will be honest with you in saying that this is something that we as women face continuously, right? Like, I went to the gym yesterday, so if y'all see me walking funny, that's why. Just to walk. It hurts now, y'all. Right? But I'm in the gym, and I am one of the heavier people in the gym because everybody else is much smaller than me. And so we find ourselves automatically feeling as if we don't belong because we don't look like the other people there. So it's continuous that we as women have to affirm ourselves. We have to always know that, you know, God made us beautiful, that he says that he made us in his image and his likeness, that all things work together for the good. And so those are some of the words that I think we need to affirm our young women with. And as those of you that may have children, grandchildren, nieces, or interacting with them even from a union perspective, whenever you see them, if you could just encourage them and remind them that they are so beautiful beyond the things that we see physically, right? Good stuff. Okay, so we kind of talked about some of those concerns that are happening in schools. One of the things I didn't hear you mention, and it seems like a lot of this is coming from like woman to woman, is what's the interaction like between boys and girls at your level? I am about 15 years older than y'all, but when I was in school, I kind of remember that girls really wanted to be liked by boys. How is that working out now?
Well,
Boys like to be liked by girls more. We can find out that we can talk to some boys soon, y'all. Let's not get to that yet.
okay, so you're asking me the relationship now?
Yeah, like are boys and girls getting along? Okay, let me rephrase this question. I went into a school last year. We were doing a conversation on how men should treat ladies, right? But these kids were primary school students. At the end of the conversation, we had hoped to get across to them as young men, you know, don't be too aggressive with the girls, be polite, be mannerly, which is a conversation I have with both men and women. We gave each of the boys a bag of chips after they left the classroom, and I watched a girl go over to a boy, hold him by his shirt, and demand that she get a chip from him. When the boy gave her a chip, she took the chip, and then she held him back again as if she wanted the whole bag. And like, she was very aggressive. So I went to her and I told her, you know, that's not the way you act. But I was concerned about that dynamic, right? Because it looked like she was really going to beat up this boy. I'm just trying to understand. Now, that was primary school. This is high school. What is the dynamic like between men and women? Because if it's International Women's Day and we're talking about unifying us and creating balance between us, we can't have people beating each other up. So what's that dynamic like?
Okay, well, with the beating each other up, I personally blame parents. And I'm going to tell you from personal. When I was in primary school, there was this boy. And he always used to push me around and bully me. And I went home and I was like, Mommy, you know this boy keep teasing me. And she's like, well, that means he likes you.
Right.
And so girls today, they
Uh-huh.
think that, well, if he push up on me and hit up on me, he likes me.
Right.
But that's not right. And even boys, they like to push around girls. And because the girls are so insecure, they need the attention. They want to feel important. They want everyone else to know that he likes me. They accept it. And that's not right. You should never let any man, not even a girl, hit on you. That's no.
Okay.
I am not with that.
Okay. All right. All right. So Keontae, what about you? Have you found that? And I think this is leading to a bigger conversation, right? The fact that we do have domestic violence even in teenage relationships, and a lot of people don't believe that it's true. But so much of the insecurities that we face later on as adult women happen from very young relationships that we start when we're 15 and 16. Have you found, or do you know whether or not there are women in your age group who are dealing with that sort of pressure from boys?
Well, domestic violence is relevant here, and boys have this thing where they must be in control. Boys have this thing where they want to be superior in everything that they do. But as for me, I don't take it. I don't accept it. I'm very stubborn. And I don't take it, but I know that some girls aren't as confident in themselves to say that I know what the difference is between right and wrong. And like Sky said, it starts with parenting. Parents should mentor their children. They should try to give their girls a voice of confidence so that they would use it when they reach men. And even with men, they should teach their young males, their boys, to treat women right, because we're hoping for equality.
Right.
So teach it from young, and I believe it'll happen, because the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should grow, and when he get old, he will not depart from it. And that is something I believe in, and once your parents or the parents teach their children well, it would follow suit in the rest of their lives.
Okay, I'll give my young people a round of applause, man. So proud of these young women and just the way that they articulate themselves, express their views. And you know, you guys continue to bring up this idea of parents. And I wanted to talk to you about it because global statistics show that one of the biggest challenges we're having, like in this generational shift, is that family structures are looking a bit different than they did in the past, right? And so I'm sure people in this room could identify with it or talk about it, whether it's, you know, outside siblings or they themselves being a quote-unquote outside sibling, or maybe they're born into a marriage, maybe they're born not into a marriage, but we know that family dynamics in our country in particular, we could trace it back to slavery, whatever we want to, is a bit different, and that we don't always have two-parent homes. Do you find that students are being challenged by not having the right type of parental support while in school? And I don't know if that's your personal story, but maybe you can talk to me about some of the other challenges students that are in school with you may face as a result of not having two parents, or maybe having two parents but parents who aren't involved and don't care. What is that dynamic like between parent and student in school at this time?
Okay, well, I live in a single parent home, and sometimes I know it's hard for students because they hold everything in because they don't have a source to let it out, because I live with my mom, and sometimes I go through things and I want to talk to my dad because I feel like my mom won't understand, even though I know she went through it. You know, when it's a problem, if a girl, even teenage pregnancy, you want to talk to someone who you will feel like wouldn't be on you.
Well,
And that's when,
I need y'all to see this. I want them to see this, right? Because they have children. They want to talk to somebody who don't say, ugh.
yeah.
Okay, cool. I get it. And as a mom, I know, even though my daughter is very young, that there are some things that she does. Okay, I can let you finish. Go ahead.
Yeah, that you can't tell mom. You can't tell mom because mom's gonna on you. So you need that other parent. You need that father figure. But my mom is my father figure, and I learned to realize as I grow older that I feel like if my dad was in my life, I would have been different in a negative way. So instead of looking at the negative part of it, be grateful that you have a parent, because there are some people growing up without parents, growing up themselves. They are the parent for their sibling. So you must be grateful and take advantage of that, because you realize that it's only God and your mom. And that leads me to like love God more, because I realize it's him that provides only for me and my mom. And if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have been here.
Yeah. Good stuff, Sky. All right. So I just, before I let Keontae jump in on that, I just want to look at that perspective, because I know so many people who are hurt and broken and not even realizing that brokenness because they feel like they're missing something by not having an additional parent in the home. And I think that's a very real issue, right? And we see it when everybody starts talking about stats and what is causing this problem is that it comes back to this. But here is a young woman saying to us that while I would love to enjoy my dad's company, I recognize that there is a great value in my mom, and I'm just grateful that she is here to raise me. So I just wanna let that sit, that there is a gratefulness there for our single moms, our single dads, and that people are not lacking, right? You are not lacking because something is different for you. So I just want to emphasize that. So Kianti, what about you? Have you been seeing that sort of dynamic in the interactions you have with other students?
Okay, personally, I have both my parents in my life, and for that I am grateful. But for the persons who don't have parent figures in their lives, I feel like most persons interpret it different. Like some persons, they would use that as motivation to do better for themselves.
Okay.
And then some persons would use it to become bitter and become a shell of the person that they could be. So the persons who I interact with, I notice that they don't have that parent figure with them, but from my view and what I've seen, these persons, they don't let their start determine where they finish.
Hey.
So they
Powerful.
use that as motivation. They use that. They don't. And then when I talk to them about family planning, they'd say, you know that, I know what I went through, and I don't want that for my children.
Okay.
I know what I went through, and I want to be better for myself, and I want to show the world that I can be better with or without a parent.
Okay. All right. I want that
Now.
back again, right? Because that's like Twitter. We got to tweet that somehow. Don't let your start determine where you finish.
Yeah.
Don't let your start determine where you finish. All right, we gotta repeat that. Okay. How we can break this down now? Boom! Mom got it in the back there. We ain't even got to go further than that, right? I love it. Thank you so much for coming all the way through for me and for repeating that for us. No, this has been a great conversation, and it's going to continue to be a good conversation. But you mentioned something here, and I want to get into that again. I was listening to a radio show about 2 days ago, and they were talking about the challenges that we find with, teenage pregnancy, with moms that have, multiple children in a single home, and just the challenges related to the social side of things when those things happen. When you consider sexuality in school, and this is something that people don't like to talk about, right? But we know that it is real, that it is happening. What are some of the conversations we need to be having with young people about sex in order for us to see them practice sex more safely and to kind of prevent the challenges that we're seeing? Most recently, the Minister of Health talked about the fact that we've seen an increase in our mother-to-daughter HIV transmission rate. Like, there are some real serious implications here that come when people aren't practicing sex safely. And we know that sex starts very early on in high school. So what are some of your thoughts about how we can teach better, safer practices about sex, and whether or not a talk about abstinence still matters? Talk to me about that.
Okay, well, I am all for abstinence, and I feel like it's not just teenage pregnancy that's a problem. You need to explain to your children that, well, your daughters in particular, and your sons too, because they are the cause of the problem. You need a boy to get a girl pregnant. So you need to tell your daughter, when you get this baby, your life is going to be set back 18 years, and you want to be successful for you, and you let them know that you are here for a reason, and it's not just to have children. Women's job is not just to have children. In a book I was reading, Woman Take Two, the father in the home, the mother said she was bored, and he said, well, I'll give you another child. Well, children are not always a source of happiness. It's just the love that you need, and it's always abstinence. You need to have protected sex over the age of 21.
Look at
My
Mama.
age is 21, and when you're 21, you need to be married, because if anything happens out of wedlock, the judgment, the insecurity, the low self-esteem that will come. There's this girl on Facebook, she had a child, and they're always like bashing her, and I know it hurts. I know it hurts. So if you think before you act, it's not just the action, it's actually you.
Okay.
So yeah,
All right.
practice abstinence.
So coming out of that with Sky, and Sky obviously is an advocate of abstinence, and so as a woman that supports the choices of women, I support her in that. But one of the other things, guys, and I want you to stay with us, the other thing that she kind of mentioned is this idea of purpose, right? And that if you know what your purpose is, then you're more focused on that than on the temporary pleasure. So we'll come back to that. But Keontae, I want to get your perspective on that. Does it differ from Sky's? Do you think that abstinence is the only way that we should be teaching women? Or, what are your thoughts related to sex education in young people?
Abstinence is an awesome route, teaching persons preventing sex or early sex, but I feel that there are other avenues. I know in family life and in my school with our girls club and our guidance counselors, they always have seminars, and they always try to teach us that when you have sex, it's almost a commitment, but a negative one. Because when you have sex with persons, they said that you get tied to them and like it's implanted in you, and the ills from sex are not very positive. So I feel like parents should educate their children on sex, one, and it should be included in the school systems too, in order to educate persons on sex. And I'm all for abstinence also. No sex before marriage, children.
All right, let's give our ladies a round of applause. A candid conversation, and I'm loving coming out of that is that this idea that we continue to encourage and teach abstinence, but that we also talk about the other issues related to sex that's bigger than just physical pleasure, and then we talk to them as parents and as a school on what's important about sex education generally. So thank you guys so much. I know that's not always an easy conversation to have one-on-one, much less on stage, but I think it's a very relevant one that is critical to us moving forward and ensuring that our girls are protected in the very best ways. All right. So one of the final questions I want to ask in this session is more coming back to this issue of Women's Day. And one of the things that you would have mentioned, Sky, was this idea about purpose and how if you kind of know who you are and what you're here for, then you're not distracted by whether it's the insecurities or the lack of confidence or the sexual things that happen, right? When we talk about the purpose of women as a whole, as a unit, you look around and you see, I mean, these women sitting in front of you, I hope you get to meet each and every one of them. These are trailblazers that have helped in so many different labor matters in this nation. When we talk about purpose as a collective, what do you see as your generation's purpose for women? For example, I've got two of my camera girls with me here today, and they were with me when we were fighting for the equality bill to pass in Parliament. It did not pass, but we really wanted it in the law that we would be equal. Is there a purpose or a cause you think amongst young people like yourself where you want to see Bahamian women go as you look toward the future?
I want to see Bahamian women realize that there is more that unifies us than divides us. And I totally believe that when young women realize that they owe the world nothing is the day they will see their true power and realize they are successful before they even do anything.
Okay.
Okay, there is no greater tool than a woman.
Okay.
There is no greater tool than the power of a woman. And I believe we as women are our only support. So instead of us competing against each other, and I said this yesterday in my speech, we as women should not compete against each other, but instead uplift each other and try to impart knowledge to one another, because at the end of the day, we live in a world where women aren't taken as seriously. We could look across boardrooms and see that no women are there. It's heavily male dominated. So we as women should try to find our purpose, like you said, because we are here for a purpose. And I don't mind women equality, because as the world evolves, I feel like it's something that will be achieved, because we have some fierce women coming up, and I'm one of them.
Hey. We have some fierce women coming up. That's going to be the hashtag that we use. They are fierce women certainly coming up in the game. Let's look at the government. Let's look at what's happening right now, currently in our country. And not just this government, but governments in the past. When you think about the future, the Bahamas that you want to see, are there any laws or special programming that if you could speak to the Prime Minister right now, you would say to him, this is what we need in our nation? Is there something that's burning on your heart that you really want to fight for or stand up for? Anything that you want to share with us regarding the Bahamas and the way forward?
Well, government-wise, I probably would like for jobs to look beyond your gender and should take in the qualifications like we were talking about earlier, because there can be a man with a bachelor's degree and a woman with a master's degree, but because she's a woman, she wouldn't get that job. So I feel like they should look beyond your gender and also the color of your skin. Yeah, because you know, in the Bahamas, I've been talking to some boys, and the ideal woman is she's light skinned, she has big hips and curly hair, but that doesn't make her nice, you know? And it's also your attitude. Your attitude is a small thing that makes a big difference.
Right.
So when you have the right attitude, I feel like you will be more, let me see, out there in a positive way and a negative way. And I feel like if I could change anything about the Bahamas now, I would change how men look at women. Like when they're walking down the street,
And everybody just
if a
stare at
woman
you.
is walking, right,
Uh-huh.
and she doesn't have a ride, before that man says, well, miss, where are you going? They would say, hey, sweetness. They would never like into consideration that it's just her body.
Yeah.
And a broken woman needs a man to fix her, not to
Right.
bring her down more.
Right.
So yeah, I would change that.
You would change that, yeah. I think everybody give it a, let's keep the clapping going, because I think we all would have changed that, right? Like, it is absolutely frustrating to just be walking somewhere and to be harassed. And so we need to encourage everybody watching this, whether you are here today or you're watching online, we really need you to remind people that that's not respectful. And we want to honor and respect each other as much as we can. And so all the hollering out the window and, yeah, sweet girl, that's inappropriate, right? All right, what about you, Kiante? Anything you want to change, whether it's government or just as a nation, some of the social things that you may want to work on for us?
Well, this is to Mr. Prime Minister. Women can do anything men can do. So have an open mind. Have an open mind to what we could do. Have an open mind to what we are going to do. And have an open mind to all situations, because although your perspectives may be different, if you look at it from my point of view, you may ultimately gain some understanding of how I feel, and you don't know, it could make the situation better. So just be open-minded to women, be open-minded to the capabilities of a woman, and be open-minded towards us, because we, once again, can do anything that you can do.
All right, good stuff. Let's give a round of applause to Ms. Kiante there, reminding us that women can do anything that men can do. And I hope that that will turn into something practical. We looked at our last election and we saw that there just were not enough women out there ready to run. But we understand the challenges. I'm sure as the women sitting in this room would know that, you know, women rarely run in elections because women don't have wives, right? Like there's no one to hold you up and to go through the grit with you and to make sure that the children are fed and that, you know, you are fed and there's clothes to wash and iron. And so for so long, women have been stuck in motherhood, which is a blessing, right? But stuck in specific roles that has made it harder for us to go out and do things like changing the laws. And so we applaud these women who are leaders in the union for being able to make that effort and to combine their times and talents both at home and in a social movement to make great change. Before we go, ladies, I wanted to kind of find out from you, who are some of the women that inspire you? And what are the qualities that those women possess?
You mean anyone?
Anyone.
Well, personally, my mother inspires me.
Mm-hmm.
She has the quality of a virtuous black woman.
Mm-hmm.
She is strong and she is beautiful.
Uh-huh.
And she teaches me every day that like she said, there is nothing a man can do that you can't do. And you know, my mom would always buy me these material things like diamonds and stuff because she doesn't want a man to come
Uh-huh.
and like take advantage of me because I didn't have those things. And I appreciate her because she lets me see the bigger picture. There's a world outside of my phone, like especially how it's like school time.
Uh-huh.
She makes me want to cut my phone off and put it in my job because I want to be better, not only for myself, but for her to see that what she didn't go in vain.
Right.
And that I will be what she wants me to be and more for myself.
Okay. And Kiante, who are some of the women that inspire you?
Well, my grandmother always tells me, Mama got, Papa got, God bless the child to have his own.
Oh,
So-
let me get one for Grammy. Y'all hold on. Y'all heard that one? Mama got, Papa got. God bless the child that has his own. Oh, man. Grammy coming under my Aunt Lynn.
And my grandmother, she was married, but she was divorced and separated from her husband. And she always went hard for her children. And that's one thing I admire about her, and she always teaches me. And then it always reminds me of the Chinese proverbs which says, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man a fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So I thank her for everything she's taught me, and, you know, I'm taking that proverbial fish, and I'm gonna make a life for me, you, and everyone else. And another woman that I would say inspires me is legendary Mrs. Michelle Obama, the former First Lady of the United States. She is all for gender equality, one, and two, her goal is to empower women. She wants women to feel as though that they have the ability to do whatever it is that they can do, and I admire that so much. And, you know, she's my role model. And then another person I would say inspires me is you, Mrs. Starr.
Oh, man. Tess! Sean, I need to cry. Give me some knock-in.
I love you. You're such a sweet, kind person. And
Thank you.
anything that you do it to your best. And I try to do that in anything that I do. So.
Thank you. Man, y'all, this is a blessing that y'all put up to this day. Y'all make us say that with me. Y'all know it's going to cry on camera. What I want to do now, because we're going to kind of switch out segments, let the men come up. But before they do, you might have some questions for these amazing women. So if you do, I just want you to put your hand up so that Sean can see you and get the question. And if not, I just want to end one final question with them. So Sean will be looking out for your hands as I give them this final question from me. Ladies, we talked a lot today. We kind of talked about, you know, gender equality and women being able to and just as able to as men. We kind of addressed that to the nation and called them out on their harassment of us when we walk down the street. We talked about the self-confidence challenges that women face, especially in a country where we continue to classify people by their color. And so really some important tidbits came out today. But now I want to look toward the future. And I want to look toward your future in particular. And so if you can just end by letting us know what it is that you hope to come out of your life and how you hope that that will impact other people, I would just be so grateful for that.
Well, I live by a quote that says, you can try to intimidate me, you can try to beat me, but you can never see me and you can never be me. And I added because I am a young woman. And I just want in my life to see a change, you know. And for the girls, I want to be a role model for the girls that are living in a single parent home and realize to take advantage of that because you are great and you are here for a reason and a purpose. And I have been bullied because I am tall, but do you think I let that faze me? No, I am sitting on this pulpit talking to you. So I want you to know that your flaws make you unique and you can turn that around and let everyone see that, hey, I'm great. And there's this girl that has Down syndrome and she constantly posts videos because she's so confident. And there's nothing wrong with you, so why can't you be that confident? Take it upon yourself to say, I will be the bigger person in every situation and I will look at the brighter side. And as we go forward, I want us as women to realize once again that there is more that unites us than divides us.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Sky. Let's give a round of applause for Sky. She's been such a brilliant panelist today. Wonderful future, and this is why your mom would have named you Sky, right? Because Sky is certainly the limit for you. So amazing things to come. I've got Keontae with me. Keontae, some final words for us as you look toward your future and what you're hoping to leave as a legacy of impact to help others as well.
Well, before I get into my future, to all the girls, I would like to say that only you can be you, and only I can be me. You'd say the I to someone else. You like I told some persons, you are your biggest enemy. You must believe that you are a light in the world. You are destined for greatness, and anything you want, anything you so desire, go for it because you can do it once you believe in yourself and you believe that God made you in His likeness and He made you for a purpose.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's give Ms. Keontae a round of applause. So grateful to have her with us.